Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Lupin the Third, the woman called Fujiko Mine, episode number 10 reaction. Right, the previous episode, we got to see a new character who was introduced, and she was used like a living canvas, and she was just treated as a painting from like a canvas from her birth. And Rupan and Jigen came across her, rescued her. In the end, Fujiko tries to kill her because like her situation reminded her of herself, and with that we get glimpses of Fujiko's past again, where we get to see she was in a similar situation as this girl. That is why seeing her, she wasn't able to stomach it, and that's why she came to try to kill her, and because she wasn't feeling comfortable looking at her. And like Jigen and Rupan saves her and takes her to a monastery in the end, like leaving her with them. And yeah, as we are seeing, as the episodes go on, we're getting to see little by little bits and pieces of Fujiko's past. So let's see what happens today. Maybe we'll get to see more. So yeah, episode 10, let us begin. I'll be putting the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it to whichever is of preference, and let's begin. Okay, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Hmm. What? Right. Hmm. What is this place? And how did he come here? Okay. Dolls. Yo, you. Hmm. Alright, so this is a dream. Yeah. That's it. Yep, that was a dream. Wow, he was dreaming inside a dream. Like, he was sleep. Oh. Okay. Wait, is he really an owl? What the hell is happening? Is he wearing a mask? I thought this was like Fujiko, the way Fujiko looks at them. Like he was in. Hmm. Oh, wow. Where is he? Is he? Oh, wow. Go back to the phone. What was that? Oh, that's a tracking device? Hmm. Oh, Zenigata's here. Oscar is here as well. Oh, this guy, Almeida. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Few months earlier. What is it? Why is he an owl? Okay, this is. I actually. It's a cult with a facility content. Bruh. Right. Yeah, Zenigata. So they're like wearing masks. Okay. Wait, what the? How did he blink? Alright, I'm really confused here. How are these guys owls? Oh, yeah. See, yeah. Wow, so this is God from behind. Hmm. Overrides the personality. Okay. Here. Okay, I don't think that's the account. It's probably just a dummy and there's like a recording. It's a dummy, isn't it? Yep, there you go. Falling of dusk. Goddess of War. Oh no, this, oh god, this thing. This one that changes personality or whatnot. The one that we saw in the first episode. Oil. Okay. Oh, no, no. I'm going to take the drug for an secretly made. Okay. This the crystal. Hmm. Oh my god, not this again. Bro. Okay, so this is where we. Okay. Left behind in this town. Yeah. Oh, this is Ellen Spiegel. Hmm. Water soluble hallucinant. This thing. There you go. Okay, so I was correct. So they're under the influence of the drug. That is why they're took the drug. Lose their physical. Right. Is it the name of the? Okay. Okay. Missile. Yeah. What is he doing here? Kill. Daughter. Oh no. Wait. What? Okay. Birthday. Oh, so okay. I see what's happening. Hmm. So he was his daughter, and she was like part of the experimentation. Okay. Yeah. Oh my god, what the hell is that? Okay, he's still under the influence of that drug, Rupan. The reagents that had Hmm. Hmm. Oh, great. Yeah, well, obviously. Greater in the human that links the cult and the family. Whoa! Good God, they were all just. Yeah. Oh boy, another illusion. That's an illusion. It's Rupan. It's an illusion. Okay, what the hell? Yeah, how is it bleeding? I don't believe any of these people here. Random. Oh my god. Yeah, well, it's obvious. We saw that. Hmm. Yeah, it's an illusion, obviously. Yeah. The side of the exit gets stuck. I see. Linked to reality. Okay. Hmm. Bruh. Hmm. Tch. Um. Right. Huh. Oh boy. Okay, is he out? No, he's still not out. Hmm. Yeah. Uh. Okay, he's out. Is he finally out? Okay, he still has the. Right. And there he is. Well, this episode was quite confusing, but I think I have a basic understanding as to what's happening. Hmm. So this whole episode was basically a dream in a way, and everything that we saw, like Rupan encountering those, like that was all because he was under the influence of the drug, and as Fujiko said that, not Fujiko, who was it that said that if you get like too much, like like influenced by the drug, if you get like, and if it affects you too much, you won't be able to get out of there, and you'll think of your, like you'll become like an owl, and you'll just always keep saying Fräulein Yule and keep repeating that, like that's what's going to happen. So if Rupan wasn't able to break out of that, he probably would have become like one of those owls. However, he was able to, I guess, by the end. But yeah, I don't know if that's what exactly happened, but that's what I got from it. Like I said, this episode is a bit confusing. Like it mixes whatever's happening in the dream and reality together in such a way it's difficult to distinguish between it. Hmm. Okay, that is it. So yeah, that was today's episode. Now, like I said, I think I'm still not completely clear about this episode, but I feel like that's how this episode is supposed to be. Like like in some episodes, and like in some shows, some episodes are intended to be confusing and not to make sense. But even though it's confusing, you at least understand what the hell is happening, and the what, like the conclusions that you can like that you can get from it, that makes sense. However, the episode probably doesn't make sense. I think it's something like that, today's episode, because I'm genuinely still confused about quite a few things. For example, from where did the dream start, from where did the dream, from where, like up until where did the dream go on and end, what the hell happened. Yeah, but even though amongst all of those confusion, we understand what's going on. So basically, what we were able to get from this episode is that Fujiko was involved in this human experimentation, which I'm pretty sure everyone realized as we got to see every single episode little by little. I'm sure everyone realized that eventually that, yeah, like Fujiko is probably involved in some kind of a human experimentation. She was probably under influence of some kind of a drug. That's why she was looking like, everyone like looked like owls or something. That is why in the first part I was kind of confused, where it genuinely seemed that those were owls, and I was like, what's happening? Are they like wearing like masks or something? No, turns out they were like, like they're just like that, and those owls, they're kind of under the influence, and they haven't been able to come out of that drugs like, influence or something like that. And like the main thing that we got to know from today's episode was one of the researchers, his daughter was Fujiko Mine, and she was used as a test subject. And the researcher, he did that. He gave up his own daughter for experimentation because he wanted to stop what's happening. As they said, the Cold War was ongoing at that point of time, and they were trying to like control the world through fear and everything. And as the researcher said, what I'm interested in is how to use that fear. And for that, like, they were going through all of those like experimentation and stuff. And that is why, to like, for coming to like, like for because of his research, because of like, what he was doing, he was ready to sacrifice his daughter as well, and that's what he did. But by the end of it, as we saw, and as he said, like, none of it was worth it. Like, the whole like, the place was just like, they to cover up the whole thing, that Count Louis, whatever his name is, Almeida or whatever, he completely just like buried the whole town, and took out each and every evidence. And like, it's just like it's all over. Like, he lost his research, he lost everything, he lost his daughter, and it's all gone. And obviously the researcher is dead by this time. But yeah, so this is like, all of these stuff are happening. Now, here's another thing that I think here that's going on. Like, I don't understand one thing, like that whole thing with Zenigata. Like, Zenigata, we clearly saw that Zenigata was here, but I think the Zenigata that Rupan saw in in that part, that was an illusion, wasn't it? Like, this is the part that confuses me. Like, if this was like, everything was happening in Rupan's dream and all of these were illusions, how was it interacting with Zenigata? Which is why I think, like, they try to trick us in this episode, where they show Zenigata. You see that part where Zenigata comes to this place? He comes here, he talks to Oscar, he's like, yeah, this is my case, leave it to me, don't try to like, like, put your nose into it, all that stuff that he says, and then immediately the next scene we see, Rupan bumps into Zenigata. I feel like these two scenes were placed perfectly next to each other to confuse us and make us think like, wait a minute, if this is a dream, how is Zenigata interacting with Rupan? I think these two are completely different scenes. The Zenigata and Oscar that were here had no interaction with Rupan today. They were just here to like check out that whole thing. And the Zenigata that Rupan met was an illusion. That was also inside his dream. So that Zenigata that Rupan interacted with and fought had nothing to do with the original Zenigata who came here with Oscar. I think so. I'm not 100% sure. Because as we can see little by little, as the time, like, as the episode goes on, it's pretty obvious that Rupan was in a dream, But then that would bring up the question, if he was in a dream, how did he talk with Zenigata? That is why my conclusion is the Zenigata that he was talking to wasn't Zenigata. That was also part of his dream. While the Zenigata that we saw in this place, who came here to like research about this place and see what it is, he was the original Zenigata. That has nothing to do with the Rupan. These two are completely different scenes, and I feel like they deliberately put Zenigata scenes and Rupan scenes back to back to make us more confused about what the hell is happening, which is dream, which is reality, to make us question that. But yeah, those two were completely different things. Zenigata had no interaction. The original Zenigata had no interaction with Rupan today. The Zenigata that Rupan was interacting with was just part of his dream. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not really sure, but that's how I see it. Because this is the interesting thing. Even though Zenigata was with Oscar, and as we know, Oscar always like stays with Zenigata. When Rupan met Zenigata and they have in that whole firefight, Oscar was literally nowhere to be seen. So that was also part of the dream. That Zenigata. So yeah, that's why Oscar wasn't seen anywhere, even though Oscar was literally beside Zenigata. Okay. Right. And that is what is happening. So yeah, like that's the whole thing. And obviously this Count Louis and Rupan, both of their goals are Mine Fujiko, and that is why Count Louis is trying to come in contact with Fujiko, as we saw, while Rupan is obviously, like trying to steal Fujiko Mine, as we saw, like all that. Right. So yeah, that was an interesting episode. I feel like we have most of our questions got answered today. What the hell is happening? How is this going on? Like all that stuff. Um, yeah. So right now, obviously, Lupin will have to, I don't know, probably come in contact with Fuji. I don't know what we do in this situation. Probably confront Count Louis, that dude, and go against him, stop him. Maybe that's how we can end this. But yeah, let's wait and see. Okay, so yeah, that was today's episode. Great episode. Let us see, like how this concludes. Now, let me talk about this episode scene by scene. I feel like if I'm going to go through this episode scene by scene, I'll be able to understand a lot more than I currently do. Okay, so here we go. The first section, we get to see Rupan wakes up in a like a place where there's like medical equipments and stuff. He comes out. He's in this place, this pharmaceutical, whatever the name was, this dead city, and there's butterflies flying around. Rupan wakes up from that dream. So here, as we see Rupan waking up from that dream, and that owl person standing right behind him, that was also part of the dream. That means, so he was literally sleeping in his dream where he wakes up, and then he wakes up from that dream as well, just to be inside another dream, which is so crazy confusing. So this part is also a dream. They tricked us into thinking that this is actually happening in reality. No, he wakes up and sees that owl behind him. That was also part of his dream. So the dream actually continues here, as you can see. Like at that point of time when we were watching this episode, we had no way to realize that this was a dream. That is why I was like, what's happening? Why is that guy with an owl face? Because up until that time, I thought, since Fujiko was probably under influence of some kind of a drug, she was looking at those people and seeing them as owls. That's what I was thinking. So seeing that these guys are still owls, I was confused. I was like, what's happening? Either way, Rupan gets up, immediately goes to the toilet, and takes out his gun that he has stashed over there, and he's asking Lupin that, oh, I would like you to steal Mine Fujiko, and yeah, Lupin realizes since she wrote that call letter on Fujiko's legs, those guys were keeping an eye on her from that point onwards, and he's like, alright, this is a bit, interesting. So he tricks the owl into somehow coming inside the toilet, and he sees that there was like a record tape playing. Rupan comes out from the back and grabs, he had the gun with him, points it towards the owl, and he's like, oh, I would like to decline your offer. And he's like, alright, I'll see you later. So he leaves. And okay, then after that, here's the thing. This scene is in reality. At that scene, that whole thing that happened with Rupan, that was still Rupan inside his dream, under the influence of it. But here, the next scene that we see with Zenigata, this is actually happening in reality. So Zenigata comes here, and he's like, I need to go to, he has Oscar with him as well, and says, I need to go to the villa owned by Count Almeida of the Glaucus Pharmaceuticals. And so then we see Rupan in front of Count Almeida's place, his place. Now I'm not really sure if this, I'm pretty sure this was also part of the dream that he was in. So he comes here and those owls come in and they're paying him money to get involved in that whole like thing, like stealing Fujiko Mine, that whole thing. And you can see these owls are saying, continuously saying Fräulein Joile. It's a cult with facility containing a narcotics production facility. Rupan's like, I don't want to get involved in any of that. And then those guys point guns towards him. And then the count says that then just still this woman who appears to be there. And he sees that it's Fujiko's, like picture. And then after that, he sees, okay. Right. After that, Zenigata comes in. Okay, wait a minute, just a second. One thing I need to understand here. So Zenigata comes in with Oscar. Okay, Zenigata says like, oh, I like, whatever I'm going to ask you has concerns with Rupan the Third, so I need to talk to you, And he goes in and he talks about how like there's so many owls here, and they're like, oh, she's known as the goddess of wisdom that governs medicine. Okay, one thing. No, okay, I think I was under a mistake here. That wasn't a dream. That part where the owl comes and hands like that whole section in the first, that wasn't the dream. That dream happens later. This part is happening in reality since Rupan sees both Zenigata and Oscar here. So this is happening in reality. Rupan falls into a dream later when he gets like drugged over here. Yeah, that is where he falls into dream. Okay, that was my mistake. I should have realized that. Here, after he goes to meet the count, you see that drug that is like just and then he falls asleep. That is where the dream starts. Okay, that was my mistake. This part is actually happening in reality. So he comes here, sees Zenigata. Zenigata literally leads him towards the count's bedroom, and here Zenigata starts asking questions to him, and he's like, I do wonder who hired Rupan for that whole thing. In the first episode, that whole thing that happened with that cult is like, I do wonder who hired him for that. Like obviously this whole thing is such a big deal that the cult cannot really have their be responsible for this. Someone big behind the bag is pulling their strings, and obviously Zenigata thinks that it's them, it's this count, that's who is doing. Either way, yeah, the pharmaceuticals company was running that cult from behind to test the drug in humans. They were literally guinea pigs for them. And okay, the drug artificially overrides personality. It was involved in MK Ultra experiments carried out by the CIA. Yes, it was behind the truth serums made from LSD and thiophantal. Okay. These so-called medical mafias kept creating conspiracies over the Cold War. In other words, fear. Fear alone can control people. Controlling people through making them doubt each other. They could monopolize a vast fortune. That's what they were doing. That's why all these human experimentations and stuff. Okay, so yeah, so Rupan comes down and points a gun towards the count, but the count was just a dummy. And then that owl comes in and he's talks about a few things. Fräulein Uile. And yeah, the dummy owl that was there, that drug comes out from its mouth and Rupan falls down. Now here is where Rupan's dream begins. I made a mistake at the beginning. I thought the dream was throughout this episode was the dream. No, here's where the dream begins for Rupan. And from here onwards, to make us more confused, they put Rupan's bit and Zenigata's bit together side by side so that we get confused which is a dream, which is reality. Okay, so later we see Zenigata's going towards a town called Oil and Spiegel, and and he has a letter, not a letter, like a parchment of paper where it's written, I'm going to take the drug Fräulein Uile secretly made on the solitary island of the religious cult, Rupan III. This was the call letter that he sent. And Zenigata's like, yeah, since this is like they're dabbling with drugs, obviously this isn't a work of a cult. This is some big people are behind this. And from here onwards, the next scene that we see, this is where the dream begins. So Rupan wakes up, you know, and I think like the way which indicates what dreams are like the butterflies. So he wakes up in this place, which was the dead city, the pharmaceutical place where the whole town was buried, and yeah, all of these things are dreams, these are illusions and stuff. So he comes across this guy, the researcher guy, Dr. Fritz Kaiser. And he says like this is like a oilless, like whatever the name was of the place was. And he says like here exists the Glaucus Pharmaceuticals research facility built to produce the fear of death. They were secretly experimenting with people's minds here. There were Japanese scientist refugees as well here. One of them was my wife. Okay, and he says, we extracted and crystallized a compound from a certain plant, a water-soluble hallucinogen. It caused temporary euphoria. Acute poisoning induced assaultive behavior. Some of them started perceiving humans as owls. And that is why Fujiko always saw the people as owls. Okay, so when certain subjects took the drug, they began shouting Fräulein Eile. They lost all faculties shortly after, became permanently disabled. Okay, so after that, we get to see that little flashback of the doctor and him talking about his birthday, his daughter 13 years earlier. And, and we can see that he was the one who, made her daughter part of this whole experimentation thing. And, when... Okay, and then something happened. Leak has been detected in Block C. Block C will be sealed off. So he's like, oh, I need to save my daughter. And to, for this whole thing that happened, this whole leak, to make sure that the whole thing doesn't go out of hand, I'm guessing that Count probably ordered the whole place to be just completely shut down and just destroyed the whole place. And he tries to go and find Fujiko. There we go. And that was the end of the place, as Lupin says. There was no news of it, even though the whole town disappeared. Glaucus Pharmaceuticals didn't care about exposing the truth. It was fear. It was a stage, a cover up for the situation. Fear itself was my aspiration. It slipped from my grasp, so that I also lost my daughter, all that stuff, leaving me with this eternal despair. And he gives Lupin the picture of him, of Fujiko as a kid. And Lupin realizes that the thing that he has been talking with has been an illusion from the beginning, and then he comes across all the pictures, of where Fujiko was experimented on. You can see she was her brain had those things, those medical, those things, those electrical things propped up in her head. So yeah, she was also one of the experiments. So yeah, the doctor literally gave up his own daughter for experimentation. And and this happened 13 years ago. Okay, so as Zenigata said, now here the next scene that we see Zenigata coming with a car. This is happening in reality. He says they only took the reagents they hadn't been clinically tested and closed the research facility 13 years ago. They did all of this. It coincides with the time that cult rose to prominence. So the stuff that they brought from here, they have been using them for experimentation, and the cult was literally guinea pigs for them. The cult of Fräulein Eile was convenient experimentation ground for Glaucus Pharmaceuticals. So yeah, there you go. That wouldn't alone motivate Lupin. Okay, so here Oscar's like, oh, you knew everything, and he's like, oh, you're just my subordinate, I'm not going to tell everything to you, at which Oscar gets frustrated. And then the next scene, as I say, this part is so confusing. I didn't realize what's happened. Like I said, they did this to make us kind of question which is real, which is illusion. So Rupan, like just after this scene with Zenigata, immediately we get to see Rupan meeting Zenigata here. And I was like, wait a minute, so what the hell is happening here? You know, so yeah, this is a completely different thing. Zenigata never met Rupan here. Rupan was under the influence of that drug that he was dreaming. And this was also part of the dream, and the Zenigata that he met here was also part of his dream. This was an illusion. So the Zenigata that he met here, he questions him and, talks about how his main goal isn't really the downfall of the cult or anything, it's Mine Fujiko, and okay. So then those guys come up. Obviously, these are all illusions. Those guys, they start shooting them, and yeah, and then he comes inside like a place where he sees the doctor is experimenting on him. Obviously, it's an illusion. The doctor tries to stab Rupan, and he's like, pain is like, he feels pain, and he shoots the doctor. The doctor just becomes like butterflies, obviously, and then the doctor pops up again from behind him, and he's like, come with me, and he goes with him, and he comes to a place where everything's just destroyed, filled with snow, and it's like broken down house, and here's where the doctor talks about his daughter, that is Fujiko Mine. And he says, like, we get to see like a little dream again, another dream sequence here where, we're back in the past, everything is colorful, Fujiko is having a birthday party. And okay, so then Rupan sees the doctor has vanished and Fujiko is just swinging on a swing, and she's like, oh, he's not here anyway. He's not here. This is my dream. And Rupan is like, oh no, this is because of Foira Nuide. I'll be back to normal when I wake up. And she's like, I'm not sure. There are people who lose sight of the exit and get stuck in the story after. And those are the people that we saw before. Those owl people. They just lost their mind. And all they say is Fräulein Nuile. And she's like, oh, like, you have to find the exit. Make use of something linked to reality to catch me. So Rupan, and she's like, yeah, for example, pain. So it makes sense. Pain is linked to reality, so make use of that to catch me. Then you can get out of here. And Fujiko starts running away. Rupan tries to catch her. It's not working. And you can see Rupan's like, all right, you know what? Okay, I know what to do. So basically, Rupan's like, what am I chasing? An illusion? Mine Fujiko? That is it. Fujiko. And then he sits down and he's like, enough of that. Fujiko's like, wait, you're going to give up? And he's like, you're going to disappear as well, won't you? At which Fujiko like bites him, and Lupin's like, alright, now I got you, and grabbed her. And obviously, like, I think this is where he, like, no, this is how he was able to come out of that temporary, like, that illusion thing. And Fujiko just like hits him. He gets up, he's like fallen on the ground in the middle of the snow. And then the professor comes in again. And obviously this is also an illusion. And he's like, you're an illusion, you're dead. It is all just a story. And the doctor says, a story cannot bring salvation. However, Rupan 3, the moment you lay a hand on it, butterflies will soar and everything will collapse. Shoots himself. Rupan wakes up here, I think. Wait a minute. And then we see, like, wait, just a second. Okay. This part is so dark, I cannot understand. Oh, Zenigata also kind of like, okay, he also fell under the influence of the whole thing. Okay, I see. So both of them were kind of in the okay. Like I said, this episode is kind of confusing, but I basically I understand the basic of what is going on, what is happening, even though a lot of the details probably I missed, you know. But either way, the main thing is that like, this Glaucus Pharmaceuticals, they covered up the accident by wiping out the city. Yeah, and they did like human experimentation over there. The child of Dr. Fritz Kaiser, who he called daughter, is Fujiko Mine, was a test subject as well as, according to a disturbing rumor. Honest Pick is still a private property. Are you going to bring changes in the evidence gathered? Okay. And Zenega's like the pharmaceuticals company's president, Luis U. Almeida and Lupin, are both after the same woman. If I keep following this, I'll be able to get Lupin. And after that we get to see Lupin wakes up again, and he has the picture with him, and he's like, was this all a dream? Was this an illusion? It wasn't a dream, but is it the truth? And then, there you go, and that's where it ended. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how this episode is intended to be. It's filled with confusion, like dreams and reality kind of mixed together, making a lot of the scenes very like confusing. And even though it is confusing, we do know what is happening. So basically, in a short summary, yes, Fujiko was like a part of the whole human experimentation, and she was the daughter of this guy, this Fitz guy or whatever. He was one of the doctors in that place, in that pharmaceuticals, whose president was doing all of this. So he offered up his own daughter for experimentation because he wanted to cultivate that fear. Unfortunately, an accident happened, that leak happened, at which the president, that Count Louis, he decided to put everything under the rug and completely wiped out that whole place. The doctor died, he lost his everything. Fujiko survived, and now that Count is trying to get Fujiko, so is Lupin. That is what is happening here. That's the main summary over here. So yeah, okay, I understand. Right, let us see what direction this goes to after this. So that is it. That was my reaction to episode number 10 of Lupin the Third, the woman called Fujiko Mine. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel, or you haven't subscribed. Comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know. I'll check them out. And that is it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video of Lupin the Third, the woman called Fujiko Mine. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.